And we're live.
Woo!
And so far, Zach is still with us. We'll see how it goes.
I hate you now. Because I did change my internet. Okay, so full disclosure to anybody, I'm having internet issues. And I did change my internet setup yesterday, but it's been going out from the AT&T box. So I did change that. I installed a fiber optic extender. So we'll see if these issues continue. If they do, well, we'll just revert. But
Maybe
I really
you
don't want to
need
have to do that. That's a lot of work.
Maybe you need to call customer service.
I mean, it's apparently only been happening today. So.
Perfect.
And no, I'm not calling
right.
customer service. That's insanity.
It is. What's up? Hola. We're about to start. You guys ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go. On this episode of the CultureSmash cast,
Fall Guy falls from movie theater to streaming.
Criterion has a new owner.
And Scarlett Johansson isn't hooking up with this AI.
it's the CultureSmash cast, episode 648 for May the 22nd, 2024. I'm Stephen Lackey, the editor of CultureSmash cast. Nico?
Nicholas Qualls, contributor to Culture Smash Cast and resident in a very messy, just moved in bedroom.
Tina?
Tina Qualls, contributor to Culture Smash Cast.
And Zach.
What?
Or Biscuits the cat.
Yeah.
Biscuits Butthole.
Hi, I'm Zach. And I don't know. I got a cat. I do things. I don't know. Am I still a contributor?
We'll see.
Jury's out.
It is. It's been a hot minute. I was putting the script together for us, and it has literally been almost an exact month to the day.
Yeah.
To be fair, we've been doing things.
We've had a lot of things going on. You guys are in another state. How's that going for you guys?
We're now
Yes?
peaches.
Oh
no!
Oh no!
You guys just froze for a second.
Oh, we should have fought on our end.
So how is it
on your end? No way.
So how is the relocation going for you guys moving to Georgia?
Interesting.
Definitely bumpy. It's like there's a lot of cognitive errors of the move process and dealing with the rental company. Otherwise, the area is okay.
It feels like
this is going to be super local to normal Nashville people.
It feels like East Nashville 10 years ago.
I'd say 15 years ago.
Okay.
15.
Oh, that's a good thing though. That's kind of good. Yeah.
Like pre a lot of the gentrification and hipsterizing of East Nashville. Basically.
But you can tell it's
like
starting to hit
cusp.
that, yeah. But the restaurants so far, the restaurants that we've gotten food from, and like some of the bakeries and some of the places that are next to us are really cool. There's one place that we're going to check out probably next week or the week after called My Parents' Basement, which is a comic shop / bar / bistro.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff. One of my favorite things in Orlando is a comic book shop that has a speakeasy in the back. That's just so cool. Well, Zach, I pretty much know what you've been up to, but I was out of town for a week. What did you do? Anything interesting? Anything? Or are you just continuing to be boring?
I had a work vacation, which was nice.
Okay.
I saw a couple movies.
Yeah.
I've been making money.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, I was out of town for a week. I went to Orlando to see one of our other contributors who is working a lot, so he's barely here now, but is Nathan. We hung out for a week. We went to Universal Studios. We went to the parks.
You got a pretty sweet hat that said seal of approval, which I love.
That's true. That's true. I went down there hatless, which is going to Florida with a shaved head.
Boy,
and being as pasty as I am was a real mistake. So I had to get a hat right away.
One of these days you're gonna learn.
Oh, well, I was gonna buy one from Universal anyway.
This lesson, old man.
Listen, it survived.
Being
but
real,
yeah,
being real, there was one time I went down to Florida and I had like really short hair. God,
Yeah.
never again. Never.
Well, I'll tell you what the real mistake is to go to Florida and have a shaved head and get one of those ventilated hats, with the little holes in it because it's cooler. And then you get like little speckles of burn on your head. Like it's kind of worse than just the full burn. So yeah, you have to wear a full coverage hat as a shaved head person, especially a pasty shaved head person like me. But outside of that, we just had a great time. We did SeaWorld. We did the Universal Parks. But there's a cool store that we went to called Atomic Horror that is literally just a horror store. It has all horror related stuff, and it has these different photo op areas. And, you would expect a Friday the 13th photo op. Yeah, that's expected because everybody knows that. And even a Halloween one. They had both of those. But the They Live photo op, they had a magazine rack, except it was like you're looking through the glasses. And I loved it so much. And then they had a TV screen with a white screen, like if you looked at it, but they had a pair of glasses you could put on and see the hidden messages. So they really go full out at that place. And I actually put together my ultimate Halloween pajama set that I will be wearing for 12 Hours of Terror there. So it was really cool. Outside of that, some tragic kind of stuff happened. Row 2202 is in the chat. She knows that my little kitty cat passed away last week. Had to deal with that. That put me out of whack for a week. Thankfully, this dumbass right here, the real one, was with me and suffered it right along with me. Little did he know he was out driving Uber, and I said, "Hey, you got to come over here." And
what's up? I need to take her to the ER right now. Okay, I'm on my way.
What a rough night, but we got through it. So
yeah.
So, yeah, outside of that, good stuff, though. We did, well, not necessarily good stuff. Have seen some movies, and I guess we'll get into the movie talk once we start the script. So, let's dig in. Before we do this, though, join us every Wednesday night. It's usually around 6:15 to 6:30, so the best thing you can do is just be following the CultureSmash on YouTube or OTS on YouTube, either one of those. Or you can see us over on Twitch, also under CultureSmash, every week. 6 to 6:15 CST on those platforms, and you can join the conversation because if you're in the chat, we will reply to your comments and engage with you during our stream. So join us. Special thanks to Skinny Mixes for supporting the Culture Smash cast. Skinny Mixes are coffee and dessert syrups that are 0 sugar, 0 calories, and 0 to 2 carbs. Head on over to skinnymixes.com and try some of their delicious syrups, such as the white chocolate, salted dark chocolate, and salted caramel, and the variety of cocktail mixtures they offer, including the margarita and the variety of fruit-flavored water infusions. So if you're a coffee drinker, you're a cocktail drinker, and you're trying to be like healthy, there you go. Use promo code CultureSmash for 15% discount on your order, and the spend $50 free shipping is back in effect. So go do it. It's good shit.
Steven, I don't know if you can see that Zach's frozen, but it looks like his arm is going up Biscuit's butthole.
I love this. Is like sweet revenge for all of his comments about bad audio. Avocado Antics 94, what is up in the chat, guys? We're just starting the script. We were a little bit later than I expected, but it's all good. So I think we'll go ahead and start while I wait to see him come back because he's struggling. So we'll get right into the box office, and he's going to want to talk about some of these movies, but we'll just go ahead and keep going forward.
He should have gotten better internet if he wanted to talk about some of these movies.
Well, he shouldn't be messing with stuff. This is Zach's thing. He's a red button guy. He's got to be pushing buttons and changing stuff, and this is what happens. This is his payback. All right, so box office this week at number 10 is Civil War. It made another $1 million. It's made 67.2. I'm assuming you guys haven't seen Civil War yet, correct?
Not yet. We have not gotten out to do much in the way of movies.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything that's going to be on this list.
Yeah, but I'm looking forward to diving back, starting like June, diving back into going to go see movies. Especially since we have quite a few art house and local theaters here. So,
well, I hope this one is still lingering in a theater there so you can see it. It is my it's probably my first favorite film of the year so far, but it's really close with another one. But it's really good. Number 9, opening new, is The Blue Angels. It made 1.4 million. It's a documentary about the Blue Angels, and it's crazy that it's even in the top 10 since it's an IMAX only film. That just says a lot about the times we're in. Number 8 is Godzilla x Kong: The New Empire. It made 1.6 million. It's made 194 million so far. I don't know if we talked about this yet, but I gave it a 1.5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, I did not like it.
In case anyone's wondering where I went,
I talked about it.
what
That you
happened?
suck. That your internet sucks.
No, it's not the internet. Biscuits, you like to step on the power button, don't you? You little shit.
No, you probably deserve that too, though.
Shut off my computer.
So yeah,
I got a screenshot of it. Looks like your arm going up.
I was like,
Biscuits
"Oh."
bubble.
Zach, we're just into the box office. I just did Godzilla x Kong. It's a bad movie. It's kind of been out for a while, so there's really not a lot to say about it except nah. Number 7 is Taro. It made $2 million. It's made 15.4 million. I went and saw it the other day.
Tell us about
I had to go see it because everybody said it was so bad. I had to know. I had to know if it in fact was as bad as people say. But I'm kind of doing a fun thing over on TikTok now. Is if it's a bad movie, I like to do an additional rating, and that rating is it worse than Madam Web? And in the case of Taro, it is worse than Madam Web.
No way.
It is worse. It is now as far as the utility of it, the filmmaking, it doesn't have ADR and stuff that's as bad as Madam Web, but the characters, the writing of the characters, the story is awful. It is awful. Like, I couldn't believe it was as bad as it actually is. I mean, I gave it a half a star on Letterboxd because that's as low as you can go and actually still rate something. But it's real bad. Like, there's nothing redeeming about this movie. But what's sad though is last year, like, I would compare to the Children of the Corn remake. At least the Children of the Corn remake went a step further and was just so bad it became kind of funny. Like, I ended up laughing at Children of the Corn a whole lot. Not my favorite way to watch movies, but okay. This one is not bad enough to laugh at. So
it's just like it's more Madam Web where you're just watching it going. It's just
exactly.
Awful.
Avocado Antics in the chat said I walked out of Taro. It was awful. Yeah. No, I stuck it out. I stayed to the end because I got diamond hands when it comes to the movie theater. Okay, so number 6,
Transformers.
Well, unless I get a better offer on the phone, then all of a sudden I don't. Yeah. Number 6, opening new this past weekend, was Back to Black. It made a $2.8 million. This is the Amy Winehouse biopic. I also saw this. It's real bad too. It's not as bad as Taro, but it is really bad. The problem with this one is it's just a bullet pointed list. Like, they had a list of different moments in Amy Winehouse's kind of known life, and they just kind of hit those points. It doesn't happen organically, and you can tell that her father had a lot of influence on the writing of this story because I think he's written a little bit too, like, nicely. Like, it's kind of painfully done in that way. It just feels really obvious. And at the same time, there are these really big moments, things that Amy Winehouse did publicly that are tragic and iconic at the same time. They don't even show those in this movie. They downplay it. They try to make out that she was mostly like an alcoholic, which she was that, but that was not what, inevitably ended her life. It was other stuff she was doing. So the movie is not great. I did like the actress though. I think the actress could probably do other things. This movie was just dog shit. So not good. Not good. Number 5 is Challengers. It made $2.8 million. It's made 43.4 so far. This is the Zendaya movie, and I gave this movie a 4 out of 5. And it's weird, but I gave it a 4 out of 5, but I still believe the movie's being overrated. I think
it's interesting. I also gave it the same. I went and saw this. I gave it the same review, and I feel like that's too high. I feel like I'm coming down off of it.
Mhm.
It's weird because like I'll agree with Avocado Annex previously. She was like, "Oh my gosh, the soundtrack," and I'm like, "Yeah, this is my soundtrack." But its use in the film just, I don't know if it worked. It was like, this is good music, but I'm not sure if it fits with
Yeah, I feel like the people that
style.
say that.
You know,
Yeah, I feel like the people that say that the music works are people that love the music and are just happy to hear it loud. Because there's a few times where there's some very important dialogue happening, and that music is so heavy and loud in the mix that you kind of really got to lean forward in your seat to know exactly what was being said.
99% of it, but there was like one or two moments where I was like, that word was lost.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I mean, it's just kind of the nature of the plot, but it's like the film makes out it's like, this is like, see, everything's happy, and I'm like, this is a fucked up situation when we take a step back and look at it. So it's that kind of like, I don't know, I feel like kind of gaslit by the film. It's like, see, everything's good, and I'm like, no,
No, it's not.
fucking awful.
And also, I feel like the marketing kind of was bad for this movie because it lied.
Oh,
like
yeah,
it set this movie up
did.
like it set it up like a Wild Things or something. Like it's going to be super hot and she's going to be like this diva.
Are
like,
you expecting sex?
Like, and it's weird because I see a lot of younger people saying, "Oh, this is so hot. This movie's so hot," and I'm like, "There's one scene.
It's like they make out and that's it.
And that's it." I'm like, "Bitch, did you not see Love Lies Bleeding 2 weeks before that movie? Because that movie was fucking hot. That movie was beginning to end hot." Yeah, and what is interesting about the Zendaya character is, I think the character is actually slightly more interesting than the marketing led you to believe. Like, you kind of set her up as a femme fatale kind of in the trailers and stuff, and she is and isn't that, which is kind of cool, but the expectation is so different. Like, it's so much not what they told you it was going to be. I felt like I was sold a bill of goods.
Yeah,
so I like the movie. I think
she is not like this mastermind kind of person.
Avocado says it was hot. It was hot for 15 seconds.
I'm not gonna lie, it was hot. Like, but I don't know. I was kind of expecting, I don't know, a titty or something. Like, I was expecting like an actual sex scene to occur. There is none.
Yeah.
I mean,
so there's the one scene.
Titanic.
Yeah, there's the one scene that you see a lot of in the trailer, and then there's one other real quick scene with Zendaya and one of the guys that is kind of post-coitus or something like that, and it's,
they're just
I don't know,
or post-sex, and it's like,
it's like, okay, is this the other scene? Because this is not hot.
That's what I mean. It's like, you still get that in Titanic, except in Titanic you got the hot, steamy hand at least.
Yeah, at least you got that steamy hand. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's like, it makes me feel sad for a younger generation if like this is what's hot, because we got so much hotter films before.
It's like, y'all are so sheltered.
Exactly. Or you've been watching.
There's two guys making out on screen. This is revolutionary. It's like,
is it? We've seen this before.
I mean, like,
yeah. I mean, I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that there's that.
Yeah, it was a hot scene because she tricked him into doing it, and it was still hot. But like,
that's it. That's all you got. That's it. We're done. Moving on. Now there's some very cool and interesting filmmaking that happens.
Yes. There's
and some good editing. Yeah. And there is a compelling story in there, which is why I still gave it a 4. But like, the fan base for this movie is making me kind of roll back my feeling, because I'm like, this is not like a 100 out of 5 movie that people make it out. Like, I'm like, I've seen better movies.
I'm at like a 7.5 now.
Yeah, I feel like I'm aggressively being assaulted by people who love it too hard. Anyway, I know we probably went too long on that, but we really haven't talked about any of these movies because we've been out for so long.
Yeah.
Number 4 is The Fall Guy. It made $8.3 million. It's made $62.8 million so far. I gave this movie a 4 out of 5. If you look at the plot of Fall Guy, it's pretty basic bitch writing. And I was clearly honest about why I gave it a 4 out of 5, because I love movies about movies. like about movie making, and I love movies that homage movie making, and that's what this movie does. This movie is a love letter to stunt people, and it's beautiful. Like the stuff that they show in the movie of the movie that's being made is just so engaging and cool. It doesn't go as far as Babylon did, but it's still really fun, and I still loved it, and I still love Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling. Yeah, it's a very fun movie. It's no award winner, but it's really fun. I liked it a lot. I wish there'd been a little less CGI. Number 3 is The Strangers Chapter 1. It made $11.8 million on its opening weekend.
Steven.
My dumbass went and saw this movie too.
How was it?
So I'd be curious to see what Tina's take on this movie is, because she's a big horror nerd too, like us. The Strangers Chapter 1, though, again, this is another situation of bad marketing. Because when you see a movie trailer from an existing IP that says, see how the strangers became the strangers, what does that make you think?
Origin story, like their first.
It makes you think prequel, origin story, correct. This is not that. Not at all. It is a nearly beat-for-beat remake of the original film.
No!
It is like, they use the same soundtrack from the original movie. The only thing is, these two actors they got, like, anybody who knows me knows that I don't think much of Scott Speedman as an actor. I'd rather fucking watch Scott Speedman than the guy they have in this movie. He's terrible. And the girl, forgettable.
It's like, one thing you don't do is remake something that isn't that old.
Yeah, it's less than 20 years old.
And was the first Strangers was a good movie.
Yeah, it's a 4 out of 5 for me. I think
it's like, you don't.
it's solid.
So you're saying they didn't learn the lessons from the remake of The Thing?
They didn't. Or the remake of Psycho. I mean, this is not quite there, but it's almost Psycho levels of remake, where some scenes were shot for shot redos.
The Psycho remake, Vince Vaughn was exceptionally creepy.
Well,
at least he was a good actor.
The reason I say The Thing was they're like, we're making a sequel to The Thing, and then it's just The Thing again, literally almost beat for beat.
And I thought that movie was supposed to be a prequel also.
It was.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was about the Norwegian base, and it's literally like, we're doing the blood test scene, except we're not. We're doing this scene, except we're not. It's like,
yeah.
It's a fucking
remake. Not only that, but I mean, and this was the argument that I gave over on TikTok was, listen, everyone who's getting excited for this movie, a little film literacy would be a good thing, because Rennie Harlan, his track record is not great. This guy, he did Cliffhanger. Cliffhanger is a very fun action movie. He did The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Harlan?
Yeah, Rennie Harlan wrote and directed all 3 of these movies.
Oh my god!
But he also did Cutthroat Island. I'm just saying, this is not someone who has a good track record. So right away I was worried. I'm like, But when you watch this movie, because of the way it ends, it feels like Rennie Harlan had an idea for a sequel, but he felt compelled to retell the first one first. And the problem is, if the sequel that he has in mind that's coming out is actually good, there's going to be zero hype for it, because this movie's hot garbage.
He did not direct the first two.
First two what?
Strangers films.
Well, his name is on them.
I don't see I don't see them in his filmography here.
Don't even get me started on The Strangers Chapter 1. Oh yeah, Avocado hated that one too. Well, we can dig more into that, because his name was on it originally. But anyway, there's literally, I ended up giving it a 1 out of 5 only because I liked the sound mix of the movie, but I also liked the sound mix of the original movie. I like the soundtrack in this movie, but I also like the soundtrack in the original movie. I mean,
like movies like this, especially the Strangers franchise, it has to rely heavily on a good sound mixing.
And they had it, but this has every trope added into it that has been in other horror movies and in other bad horror movies, but still done better than here.
Damn.
I mean, they give a very obvious weakness to a character. Like one of the characters has a very obvious weakness. They set it up, and then they don't properly use it. Like it's just dumb. Like it's very poor filmmaking.
Well, that's disappointed because one of the date nights that I was gonna try and plan for me and Nico here in a couple of weeks is the drive-in theater that's like half an hour from our house.
Yeah.
Has a double feature of The Strangers and The Strangers Chapter 1. And I'm like,
Ugh. Well, one of them's good.
Gonna be like a beat for beat remake. Why the fuck?
Well, and prove me wrong. Do it well, but they didn't. It's real bad.
Haven't you ever just wanted to watch the original Nosferatu and then watch the remake of Nosferatu?
Yeah, now I see. Rennie Harlan directed this one. He didn't write it.
Yeah, it was Brian
Bertino
directed.
Yeah, but I was like, wait, Rennie Harlan's movie was all over this, and you had me thinking he didn't even direct it, but no, he did direct it.
No, he directed Chapter 1. He didn't direct the original or the sequel.
No, I never said he directed the original.
You said he directed all fucking 3.
Of the new ones that are coming out, sir, there's only been one Strangers up to now.
They're making another one?
I just said that this movie ends as a setup for the next one. I just said that.
And he's directing the other one?
Yes.
This is news to me.
Yes. There are supposed to be 3 in total, a trilogy of new Strangers movies. Yeah.
Chapter 2 is supposed to be released later this year.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck off. What is this?
This movie actually has a post-credits or mid-credits scene to set that up, and it's like, I mean, this situation did not work for the Halloween remake. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because there's something very similar between the first 2 Halloween remakes and this movie in the setup for the sequel. And it's just
concurrently.
Yeah, it's real bad. So there's that. Now, on to good news. Number 2 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It made 25.4 million. It's made 100 million, 0.6, and I gave this movie a 4 out of 5. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is actually pretty great. I liked this movie a lot. There's aspects of this movie that harken back to the original, like the original Planet of the Apes. It kind of has that bit of social commentary and also tiny little bit of a sense of humor like those movies had. The CGI is pretty good. Like there's sometimes it's not great, but they actually went to locations and shot with the motion capture people that were doing the apes, and you can tell it paid off. But the story is fun. I liked it a lot. I was very happy to see that this one is good, and it's the start of a new trilogy, so hopes are high. I recommend Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I liked it a lot. And number 1 this week was If, which is short for or abbreviated for Imaginary Friends. Made 33.7 million on its opening weekend. I've heard a lot of bad things. Avocado Antics reported to me that it's pretty good. She said she cried twice, but she also cries at Toyota commercials. She's a little crybaby.
Listen. Avocado Antics, I get you. Sometimes those commercials get you, man.
Can I keep that? Can I use that in the future? Oh
yep.
Like, you don't understand. I get you, Avocado Antics. I cry. I tear up now thinking of the fucking Budweiser commercial where the little puppy gets lost and is chased by wolves. Like, listen. Sometimes the commercials are better directed than some of the fucking movies out there, damn it.
Not the wow my goodness in the chat. All right. Anticipation is high this opening weekend because we have Furiosa, a Mad Max story, opening at 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, and the Garfield movie opening at 44%.
If you want to support the Garfield movie, go to Olive Garden. They have a triple lasagna meal for you. You get the lasagna appetizer, like the fried lasagna roll thingies. You get
is that a thing? That's crazy.
Chocolate lasagna.
She says, Tina, thank you. Steven, go to jail. Pretty typical. But yeah, I've got to see Furiosa, and I was actually telling Zach in the pre-show that we have to see the TV Glow thing, that movie, whatever the hell it is.
I saw the TV.
I saw the TV, yeah. And I was expecting this one to open a little wider than it did. It's not showing in our Regals here, so we're going to have to go to the art house that we go to and see it. Sounds like a double feature with Battle Royale Friday night for us.
I mean,
I'm
just happy I don't have to sit through that fucking trailer again.
Yeah, that trailer has played, it seems like, for the last year. And I'm so, like, I want to hate the movie just because I hate the trailer so much.
So tired of it.
Right?
So, if it makes you feel any better, it is technically opening up at 100 Oaks. Man, but I'd have to go to 100 Oaks. No.
Yeah, I'd rather pay it at my art house than go to that theater.
Yeah.
I know that's local baseball, but inside baseball, but yeah.
I only go to 100 Oaks if it's like you have to go here and there's no other choice.
Yeah, I go to 100 Oaks usually for the Bollywood movie I need to see.
Yeah, or like
because they get all of them.
Terrifier 2 is playing there, and it's like at 9:45, and that's it. It's like fine,
That's it.
I will go, but not willingly.
Nico, is he where you can hear?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to tell him. I actually went to the Transformers 40. It was a Fathom event. Yeah. It was like a 40th anniversary of the Transformers TV show, or basically, and it was cool because they had one of the episodes play, and they had the original cast get together and do a table reading, and they used that audio for the episode.
That's awesome.
So it was pretty neat. Yeah, it was pretty cool. All right, moving on to Film Ball.
All right, so our TikTok game, I don't have an update for because Steven didn't get me the info for the TikTok game. So
well, I didn't want to bother you because I knew you were so busy moving and shit.
But for the regular game, currently tied in fourth place with matching goose eggs are Nico and Zach. Keep in mind,
perfect.
My numbers are always a week behind because Box Office Mojo updates usually Tuesdays. So keep that in mind. In third place with $778,000 is me. Right now, I'm just pulling from the Dragon Keepers. I think the next movie that I have coming up is Back to Black, and then the week after that, I get some Furiosa money. In second place is Steven with $53.5 million.
Hell yeah.
Most of that, Steven, is coming from, all of that is coming from the Fall Guys, so I'm expecting that to fall in the numbers.
Yeah, because of this. Well, we'll get to that story in a minute, damn it.
And in first place is Nathan with $88.4 million so far. That's coming from Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes and Tarot. So
early game Steven,
yet. You'll get some money back here soon because you got both If and Strangers Chapter 1. So just want to remind you that you paid $6 for Strangers Chapter 1 and $9 for the Fall Guy. So
$9. That Fall Guy is going to be the best buy of the game, baby. For $9. But yeah, so if you're new to listening to the stream, basically what we have here with our Film Ball game is we get 100 virtual bucks and we bid on the movies in a 4-month block that we think are going to make the most money the first month of their opening, the first 4 weekends. And then we smack talk each other for that entire time. We play 3 games a year, so stay tuned. New games coming soon. But this one just started. This is our summer game, and this is a very weird game because we don't have that many summer blockbusters, so it's going to be fun to watch how the numbers fall out. And Tina and I also manage a TikTok game, so you can start keeping up with that too when I give her the TikTok information.
You say manage. I'm just a spreadsheet person. So.
Well, yeah, you manage the numbers, the important shit. And anyone who listens to this, you should go over and follow Tina on her TikToks because I need to get her up enough so she can stream with me. We'll get to that at the end of the show. All right, so let's see. Moving on. Zach, you have the first story.
Yeah, so This week, it was announced that Indian Paintbrush founder Stephen Rails has acquired both the Criterion collection and Janus Films in a private transaction.
Yes.
What is it? Anyway, quote, "We have grown our brands and audience with dedication to a set of values reflected in the films we release, the way we release them, and the way we conduct our business with our valued partners around the world," President of Criterion Janus Films Peter Becker said. "We're excited to continue the legacy and pursue new opportunities now available through this relationship." So, essentially, the company that distributes Wes Anderson films, which, if we're being honest, all Wes Anderson films have pretty... What is it? What, buddy?
Keep going. Keep going.
Has been released through Criterion, now essentially owns Janus and Criterion. So I'm curious because, well, we know where the headquarters of Janus Films is. It's in Nashville.
Yeah, it is in Nashville.
So
I think you just... Oh, okay. I thought you froze for a second.
Oh, I was waiting on you. Yeah, no. I was just curious your thoughts on this and where this is kind of gonna go.
Yeah. So that was the first thing I asked you when you sent me that story. I'm like, are we happy about this? How do we... The first thing is, I didn't think that Janus Films and Criterion were in any... I didn't think they were in a position where they needed to be sold.
Same here. I'm like, I didn't even know they could be bought.
I mean, because they're in a space where they're profitable. They don't take many risks, to be honest. They know their market. They have a very strong market, and they're profitable. And we know that Janus Films is successful because, like you said, they're based here. So we see a lot of their stuff in our art house theater. So this kind of shocked me, and that's what I asked you when I asked you. I'm like, are we happy about this? Well, I did a little digging.
Go on.
And I don't know. So this guy, first of all, he's I think 77 years old. No, 72 years old. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he's some young buck that's investing in this and going to be around for the next 25 years to keep this company going. I don't know what his plan is. And also, he's a billionaire who he has this little Indian paintbrush art project, which is basically his production company. But his larger money comes from hedge funds and from pharmaceuticals. So he's been part of this sort of whole capitalist run of flipping companies and the whole thing. A lot of things that we hate. So I'm concerned. You know, I was talking with another friend about this, and the hope is that he's pulling a Ted Turner when he bought Filmstruck and turned it into Turner Classic Movies. And he just did it because he wanted, you know, this little flower in his hat. I hope that's what this is. But I don't know. I'm a little nervous. I feel like we're going to have to take a cautious wait and see. Because looking at this guy's complete background is a little scary.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel, to where it's like, well, what does this mean? I guess we'll just wait here a little while, see what happens.
Now, my pie in the sky hope is that this billionaire guy, obviously he's had this production company doing Wes Anderson movies and other movies too.
Yeah, and a few others.
So,
primarily when I see the Indian paintbrush logo, I'm like, oh, it's Wes Anderson.
Yeah. So I'm just hoping this means he just loves movies. And what could happen is he could give Janus Films an infusion of cash and Criterion to allow them to do more, which would be pretty cool.
So
I don't know.
I guess my main question is, when are we going to get Goodbye Dragon in 4K Criterion?
Exactly. When is that happening? We need that. It's
saying.
Enough already. It's enough of the bullshit. Let's go. I mean, if there ever was a movie that was made for Criterion, it's Goodbye Dragon Inn.
Yeah.
I mean, it should just have the logo in front of the movie already, for crying out loud. It's that much a Criterion. So yeah, this kind of got me shaking in my boots a little bit once I looked into him a little bit more. So yeah, it's literally a wait and see thing. There's a lot of cool stuff coming out from Criterion. So, and then we have the sale in July, so that's coming up too. So
watch, Criterion is now going to sell, like, I don't know, Godzilla versus Kong Criterion collection.
And some people were saying, is he going to Zaslav it? You know, are we going to be getting
my
TV shows?
fucking nightmare. That would
It would be.
That would be really bad.
It would be really bad.
Be my fucking nightmare.
I mean, that would break my heart if something broke my heart when it comes to movies. That would be so sad. It's hard enough to try to go to an HBO brand and see Chip and Joanna Gaines on the main page. I'm like, come on, really? But this is the world in which we live. So anyway, it's a good piece of information to have if you're a Criterion fan. I'm not saying you should rush out and buy up everything because they're going to go out of business or something, because I just don't know. I'm just saying it's something we should all, as film lovers, be keeping an eye on to see where it goes from here. All right, moving on.
All right, so I'm taking over Nico's story. He's on baby duty, so next week,
Got it.
Here for a switch. All right. Academy Award nominee and Marvel star Scarlett Johansson has responded to the use of a voice which sounds suspiciously like hers for OpenAI's ChatGPT system, saying she was shocked and angered that the company used such a voice without her permission. Following the revelation that OpenAI had used a voice much like Johansson's, with many pointing out the similarities between the system and Spike Jonze's 2013 movie Her, the actress released a statement saying she was asked to provide her voice, but ultimately turned the offer down last September. Johansson explained that she was contacted by OpenAI CEO Sam Altman back in September of 2023 about using her voice for ChatGPT 4.0, but the star rejected the offering, citing personal reasons. The company had gone ahead and used her voice anyway, with Altman even making reference to the movie Her at the time. Johansson is calling for appropriate legislation to ensure that individuals can protect their likeness and image from unauthorized use. In response to the allegations, OpenAI and Sam Altman have released their own statement, as well as suspending the Scarlett Johansson-esque voice, which is named Sky. Quote, "The voice of Sky is not Scarlett Johansson's, and it was never intended to resemble hers. We cast the voice actor behind Sky's voice before any outreach to Miss Johansson. Out of respect for Miss Johansson, we have paused using Sky's voice in our products. We are sorry to Miss Johansson that we didn't communicate better," end quote. I find this suspicious that they reached out to her to see about using her voice and then released a statement saying, oh, no, it wasn't supposed to be her voice. We already casted the person. It's like, no, that's what happened.
I don't know how they thought they could just get away with it, especially with her, because she's got balls. She'll fucking sue Disney. She doesn't care.
Yeah. This is the woman who went toe to toe with the mouse and walked away a winner. Like, you're done.
You don't mess with Scarlett Johansson, right? And it's just, there's no real way they can come out of this looking good, because they hit her up. They asked her for her voice. She said, "Go fuck yourself." And then they used it anyway. Yeah. Now, what they could have done is said, okay, well, she doesn't want to do it. Then we're going to go out and find a voice alike. Yeah. Someone that sounds like her. And then if they did that and they use some sound bites from Johansson's movies, then it still comes out sounding like her, and she still has a right to sue. And that's the other part that's not in this story is she has said that she would litigate.
Yeah.
And the fact that they pulled the voice down says everything.
Yeah, 100%.
If they had the balls to stand, if they had the balls to stand by it, they would have just left it up and said, "No, this is not her," Yeah. But they didn't. It's so funny because their whole goal in this was they had said we wanted to use that voice because we think it would help sort of bridge the gap with people's uncomfortable
creative minds. Yeah.
Yeah. But what it actually does to me is makes it scarier.
Yeah.
This whole thing that's happening makes it actually scarier. I think it went the opposite way for them. I'm freaked out by.
He's already in hot water with a lot of Hollywood just because of the whole, AI generated scripts that went down last year. How did they think this was going to be a better scenario for them?
Yeah. The only thing I can hope is what she said, and I would love to see her actually lobby for it a little bit, is our government is working too slow on this. AI is advancing really fast. We don't have time to sit on our asses. We need to regulate. And there's been other people in the AI community that have said, regulate it. Let's regulate it, because they know, even as people who are innovating in that space, they know it needs to be gotten under control, right? Let's see.
Oh,
Spam.
it's a bot.
Is that a bot?
It's a bot.
But yeah, this whole thing, I mean, I've been freaked out about this whole voice thing since that Anthony Bourdain documentary.
Yeah.
And no one talks about that movie, and that was really the first movie to really use an AI voice. And it was creepy.
Yeah, for the majority of it, you're like, oh, this must be some old recording. Because it would go between recordings of him and this AI voice. And a lot of times I couldn't tell the difference.
I couldn't.
Unless it was really blatant.
Didn't we see that together?
Yes.
I thought I remembered looking at you and asking you, how did they get him to read this email when he's fucking dead?
Yeah, and I think the Anthony Bourdain one came out roughly around the same time, or like shortly after the Val Kilmer one, which did a fantastic workaround of just getting his son to do a lot of the voicing.
Yeah, which is great, and the way you should do it.
Fantastic way to do that.
Yeah, another great example of that is for some of the restoration for Blade Runner, they get Harrison Ford's son to come in and be a face-alike, and it worked great.
Yeah, and I get, like, not every celebrity has a mini-me clone that they can use for this. Cool. One thing we don't need to do is bring in computers to essentially mimic the dead. That's just, it's creepy beyond belief.
I would rather homage the fact that he's gone and remember the fact that he's gone in that documentary instead of pretending that he's not by using
get like somebody that he was close to do it, or
see, that would have been amazing if each email that was read by a close friend or family member. Yeah. How cool would that have been? How much impact would that have had?
By that same
token, great.
Family did approve the voice. So it's not like
I'm sure it doesn't help though. It doesn't help the overall, like, in the zeitgeist of it. It doesn't help.
I mean, the only thing I've seen AI-wise where I'm like, fuck it. Aggro Drift.
Yeah, so was Aggro Drift, was that script AI written? It feels like it was.
You know what? If you had told me the script for Aggro Drift was AI written, I'd be like, okay, checks out.
Well, so what part of Aggro Drift was AI?
Oh, the imagery.
Oh, just the visuals?
Yeah.
And that's why it looks like shit the whole time.
Well,
because it does.
Not the colors, but like they were morphing and changing people almost to where it looked like an acid trip or something like that. Not that I would know. But, I don't know. I guess that's the only use of it to where I wasn't pissed off. What is it, buddy?
But to be fair, it was used in that way. It was used more like a paintbrush.
Yes.
Then it was used more. It wasn't generative. In other words, it wasn't using other people's shit to create something new. It was using tools like aspects of Photoshop, just done with machine learning, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with it. That's the difference. That movie, I still hate it. I mean, I love it for what it wants to say, but I could never watch it again. I couldn't do it.
Wake up, do it. Go to sleep,
do it.
Sleeping, still doing it. there are in that film that are just so bad. We're going to be quoting them for years.
I tell you what's annoying though is I went to the IMDb page because I wanted to see some of the actors, and most of them are not pictured.
Yep, checks out.
It's like because most of them aren't actors, so that kind of sucks. So, quick heads up on Aggro Drift. It is Harmony Korine, the creator of Gummo and Trash Humpers, and it's his new movie. And this bitch right here, like, preyed on me. And used my need for numbers to convince me to go see it.
I wanted to see how mad you could get, and to be honest with you, we both had a couple good laughs.
We both did have a couple of good laughs. It's true. I expected to really be angry. I'm actually still more mad at that other movie we saw, Hundreds of Beavers. than I am at this
I
one.
can see that. At least Aggro Drift, like, it swung for the fences, whereas Hundreds of Beavers also swung for the fences, but kept swinging. And
Yeah.
occasionally it would hit something, but it didn't matter because it was swinging so hard.
Well, it had some clever visuals, but it felt like clever visuals in an 1.5 hour long YouTube video. It didn't feel like a movie. Aggro Drift,
25-minute long movie stretched to an hour and 50.
whereas Aggro Drift feels like a piece of shit movie that would be put out by like Wild Eye or something that low key still has something to say under the hood, which is
there's still an
interesting.
hour. Aggro Drift is still an hour too long, but at least
for sure,
an hour and not an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, every little bit helps. All right, moving on.
All right.
Got a better soundtrack too.
It did. True.
The Fall Guy, starring Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, is making the jump to digital platforms.
Already?
Just over
Yeah.
2 weeks after the film debuted in theaters. Universal Pictures announced on Twitter that The Fall Guy is getting its digital release Tuesday, May 21st, meaning people can join in on the action at home. The film will also come with an extended cut that includes 20 minutes of never-before-seen footage, which likely means more stunts, spectacles, and star screen time. The Fall Guy has seemingly had its digital release fast-tracked by the studio, as the film only opened in theaters a little over 2-3 weeks ago on May 3rd. However, despite mostly positive reviews from critics, the film has underperformed at the box office, bringing in $27.7 million on its opening weekend in the US and Canada. Box Office Mojo statistics reveal that as of now, The Fall Guy has grossed $63 million in the US and Canada and $64.6 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $127.6 million, which, according to Variety, is against a production budget of $140 million. So...
And this has sparked a really interesting debate, and the question is, why? Why didn't this movie do better? Like I said, it's a
I
fun
can
romp.
tell you why it didn't do better is because, frankly, the advertising for it made it look like a generic action movie. Frankly, it looked like a generic comedy, action, whatever. It was only after the film had been released and after the director had gone on to VFX Artists React, showing all the stunt work was practical, and they did like a shit ton of stuff practical. It's like, why didn't y'all lead with this? This was like a huge, it's like, this is just another generic movie. It's like, it's frankly like Bullet Train. I heard it was good. It looked generic as fuck, though.
I also
Bullet
have
Train's-
to
I haven't
wonder.
seen it.
I also have to wonder how many people are not seeing this movie because of Ryan Gosling and him being in Barbie. There are two camps that I've seen so far. Listen, don't make that face, Zach. There are two camps that I've seen so far of men who's like, I don't want to see an action movie with a gay Ken doll person in it. But I've seen a lot more that are like,
those guys.
Wait,
that are like, I'm not going to go see because Ryan Gosling, even though I love him in The Notebook and I love him in Barbie, but Barbie didn't get as much recognition as I want, so I'm not going to go support some of these other movies and I'm like, why? Both of these arguments are stupid. But those are the two camps that I've actually been seeing on social media.
So I do agree that those two groups do exist. I think they're small though and just loud, which is usually the case.
Yeah.
I think what is interesting and what is the big problem is that Universal tried to market this like an 80s or 90s, especially 90s movie where star power was so big you can just put the stars in the picture, show two really hot stars together that people love, and that'll sell tickets.
I'm looking at the poster and it's just them standing there looking like that, and there's explosions behind them. What the fuck?
It doesn't work.
Oh my god, the poster even covers up the word guy. It says The Fall.
So it doesn't work.
Shit.
Yeah, I've seen it.
That's bad.
I don't mind that it does that. I mean, it's fine with me. That's fine.
I've seen worse poster designs, I will say.
Yeah. hear me out. I think there's a lot of reasons for this, but one I think is interesting is I think A-list like movie like celebrities have kind of poached or gutted their own fan base by crossing over and doing streaming stuff. Because I think the way the star power used to work is these are stars you only see at the theater. Yeah. If one of them popped up on TV, it was a huge deal and promoted for months because it was a big deal if you were going to have, Tom Cruise pop up on a TV show. It was huge. But now there's no cachet to that anymore because Ryan Gosling will do a Netflix movie, a piece of shit Netflix movie at that. And Emily Blunt probably will too. I'm just saying it is what's happening now. You're seeing all these stars do Netflix movies. So there are very few stars now that only do movies.
To caveat, he's saying Netflix in the general term because I've seen these people do like horrible Amazon movies, Hulu movies. Like this is just
well, yeah, Chris Pratt, perfect example, doing that. What is that? That Tomorrow War or something that Chris Pratt did for Amazon. Yeah, and that's my point. Is there's no cachet in the celebrity anymore because you can watch them at home on some bullshit. And I think you've got like The Rock and Gal Gadot and Ryan Reynolds doing that red whatever it was, that shitty action movie that they're doing a sequel to on Netflix.
God,
I'm talking
trash.
Yeah. So it's star power doesn't work anymore because they've gutted their own cachet. And I think to try and sell a movie just based off the stars is a mistake.
I also think in addition to what you're saying, the whole star power doesn't work with the rise of Marvel, it doesn't matter who's playing Tony Stark. Or excuse me.
I'm gonna disagree.
Let me back up real quick. It doesn't matter who's playing Captain America.
I probably disagree with that one too. I think Chris Evans made
Batman.
Almost, yeah.
See, Batman, I could see your point for that, but like
doesn't matter who's playing Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's like the more actors that step into a role associated with that character name, the less prestige it has.
Let me ask you a question. Are you going to see this movie because it has Iron Man or because it has Robert Downey Jr.?
So in my case...
A new Iron Man film just came out. Are you seeing it because it has Iron Man or because it has Robert Downey Jr.?
Does it actually have Robert Downey Jr. in it?
Well, let's say it didn't. Are you still going to see it because it's Iron Man, or I'm only seeing it if it's Robert Downey Jr.?
So I get your point. Robert Downey Jr. is a bad example though because he owned that role and created that role. Yeah. So if a new Iron Man movie comes out and it's not Robert Downey Jr., I don't know. Yeah, it's really got to look good for me to care.
Yeah. And I think been here lately. It's like I might just wait for a couple of months.
And we're going to test that theory here real soon with the new Captain America movie.
Yep.
Because technically recast Sam Wilson is Captain America now. So will people come for that movie? Because Chris Evans kind of made that his role too. But yeah, to your point, people go to the movies for IP, not for stars anymore, and that's true. I agree with you on that. Just you picked a bad example.
Well, okay, let's not beat around the bush here. This is a remake or a reboot of a TV show from the 80s
that no one knows.
That no one knows.
Yeah,
but that's how it got the green light. Brand recognition. Well, there's a small percentage of people out there that understand this, and we can capitalize on that.
It's kind of like when they did that movie remake of the A-Team. Even though more people knew what the A-Team was than the Fall Guy.
Yeah.
Like, even then, the A-Team kind of bombed in box office.
Also, I think the other argument that I have is Universal just doesn't have any balls. Because, like you said, I agree with what both of you guys have said about this movie. The other example that I want to give, there's two examples I want to give. One is Wonka. I don't remember if Wonka was ever number one at the box office. I don't think it was. But either way, it lived in the theater for months.
Oh, yeah.
And ends up being one of the highest. it stuck around, and
it was March, and we still saw it on the top 10 list or something.
even after it came out on VOD, it was still out. And I want to go back to pre-pandemic. My favorite example of this is the Italian Job remake that had Charlize Theron in it, Mark Wahlberg. It kind of it had some decent actors in it. It came out. It did not blow up at the box office, but it stayed in the theater for 6 months. It kept making money. And Universal was expecting this movie to come out and be $100 million movie or something opening weekend. And when it didn't do that, they're like, oh shit, we better just drop it to streaming.
And they're shooting themselves in the foot too with the streaming, with adding that here's 20 minutes of unseen footage, because now people, instead of going to the theater and possibly getting that theater experience with a live action stunt heavy movie, they're going to be like, oh, why would I go see that film when here I can stay in my house in pajamas and get 20 extra minutes of footage? Why the fuck wouldn't I do that?
Yeah. And I think this movie was primed to do what Italian Job did.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Italian Job had good marketing either, but the word of mouth kept people going. Well, once Fall Guy came out, most people like it. So it had good word of mouth. And in those lull weeks when there's nothing new coming out, it could have bumped up and made a few bucks. This movie could have ended up making some decent money had they waited.
I think also one of the things that Universal might have looked at, I don't know, I might be giving them a little too much credit, is last week we got Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. This week we're getting Furiosa. You know, what's coming out in the next couple of weeks? Is it worth it to keep it in there when these other action movies are coming out that have a higher fan base, that are going to make more money? And who would, honestly, if you were given the choice, here's a ticket to go see the Fall Guy, here's a ticket to go see Furiosa, which one are you going to go see?
Furiosa.
100%.
Well, yeah, for sure. For sure, I'm going to go see Furiosa.
I have to wonder if someone's like, fuck, we messed up on the timing of this to let it stay in the theaters longer. Let's just go ahead and pull the plug. So,
well, and I don't think
I might be giving them a little too much intellectual credit. So,
well, I mean, that makes actual good. It makes good sense. It makes good sense, and no one has said they're pulling it from theaters.
Yeah,
they're just dropping it on VOD really fast, and that's problematic.
I mean, and also you got Furiosa this week, and then June 7th you get Bad Boys 4, another action movie. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Going back, Wonka was number one at the box office 4 weeks in a row, or 3 weeks in a row, non-consecutively.
Yeah, because it kept having little comebacks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't leave the top 10 until March.
I shouldn't say that.
And here's the thing. Go ahead. What were we gonna say?
When you said it kept having little comebacks, I was like, yeah, so many little comebacks. We should have named that movie Stormy Daniels.
But you know, the fact is, after people see Furiosa, they're going to want something else to see, and maybe that's the time Fall Guy could have made some money. And I'm not saying it won't still, because Wonka was still in theaters and still in the top 10 after it got released to HBO Max. So I guess we'll see. It's frustrating, though. I don't want this to become a trend. Like, the studios just freak out because they didn't make enough money opening weekend. And instead of waiting to make that money and then dropping it to streaming, just rushing on over to streaming. I think that's fucked up.
Yeah, because it sucks for people like us, too. It's like, shit, I was actually trying to fucking go, and now it's gone.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies to see, and I didn't get there.
Like, so. I remember wanting to see Bad Times at the El Royale, and I was like, finally got a free day. Let's go. And it was gone.
Well, that movie.
I saw that movie as soon as we did, because that was a great movie to see in theaters.
It really was.
Man.
I mean,
how that movie was so poorly marketed. That movie, any Quentin Tarantino fan or anybody in that space should have been seeing that movie, and it was just so terribly marketed.
It was such an underrated, undermarketed movie that it flew behind like all these other blockbusters that came out around that time, and it's like, no, go see this one. Don't go see this movie that's, grossing $100 million. Go see this one. It's worth it. So.
Yeah. All right. This week on Blu-ray, there's a little bit. This is a week of reissues, though. Interstellar's out on 4K. That's been out. I don't know if it's been on its own, though.
Well,
has it been out?
Yeah, it's been on its own. What they're doing is they're repackaging a few films to where you get the 4K, you get the Blu-ray, you get the DVD, you get the digital copy, and it's like $10.
I mean, for $10, that's okay. But generally, my response to that is, I don't want the fucking DVD. Why do I
Unfortunately,
want that?
it's in a DVD case too.
Ooh, is that what's happening with these? Because I won't be buying those.
It's like,
Or hear me out. If it's $10, I'll go I'll go online and buy a case of Blu-ray cases and move it because that's gross.
yeah, it's like, God, you got to put it in the shitty case. Like, why?
Yeah. That sounds like they're trying to get rid of some inventory of cases.
I mean, it does.
That does not sound appealing to somebody as OCD as me.
Exactly. The few like I do have DVDs still in my collection because documentary,
Yeah.
and
Well,
I hate it.
Some stuff is straight up not going to ever go to Blu-ray. Like,
Yeah.
ever. Yeah.
And I
I
hate
keep
it.
them separate from my Blu-rays. That way I don't have that weird fucking mountain range going.
Exactly. No one wants the fucking mountain range. All right. So also the Hunt for Red October is out on 4K. Escape from LA. Narc. Narc is a limited edition. Apparently, Shutter Island's out in 4K. The Untouchables 35th anniversary edition 4K. Island of Dr. Moreau collector's edition. American Hustle 4K. So that's a steelbook. Then there's Beverly Hills Cop 4K. The Philo Vance collection. I don't know what that is. Death Dream on 4K and Thunderheart. So some movies out this week. Nothing that I'm like, holy shit, I gotta have it.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, you could tell Nico we missed him, but he was doing he was doing the good work.
Yeah. And like I said, it's my turn next week. Well, yeah, next week. My turn next week. So.
All right. Well, speaking of you, where do we find you on the internet?
You can find me on most major social medias under Cheddar Popper, CheddarPoppr. Steven wants me to get on some lives on TikTok, so get me to 400 followers. Trust me, I won't bug you. I don't do shit on TikTok except for lurk.
Once in a while, we get a little doggy picture. That's about it.
Yeah, doggy, or like a funny, oh, I'm going to embarrass my child kind of video where I turn her into the Grinch.
Yeah, that too.
And you can find Nico Scream at pretty much any social media under Nico Scream. So
Doesn't he have nicholasqualls.com?
he does have nicholasqualls.com. I think that links to his link tree. You can find him everywhere through that.
Zachy boy. Biscuits.
You can find me looking at my cat because I'm talking and my cat's like, sweet, I can get attention. You can also find me on Instagram, I'm Master of the Matrix 91. You can also find me on Steam and Discord, a Dangerous Mute Lunatic. And of course, you can find me on Letterboxd, Master Z91.
All right. So the best place to get me, honestly, is OTS Movies over on TikTok. I'm there every day. But also on Letterboxd, OTS Movies. I'm trying to see 150 movies in the theater this year.
Where are you at?
And I am in the 50s, in the mid 50s. So I'm slightly behind, because I should be at 60 right now. So I'm slightly behind. It's fine though. I'm going to see at least 3 movies this weekend. So we're good. We're good. Yeah, so if you follow that, you'll be able to see that progress as it's happening. Also on Instagram, Off the Shelf Movies, and like I said, OTS Movies on YouTube and TikTok. So it's good to be back in the rhythm of things. So we will see everybody next week.
Bye, everybody.